Hello and happy Thursday. Happy Jupiter Day. Thursday aligns with Jupiter. So if you don't know, each day of the week does align with the planet, and Jupiter is all about expansion and growth and abundance. So I love that, and this was not even planned. I just realized this right now. I love that I switched the live trainings to Thursdays. We used to do them on Fridays, and I was like, I really feel like I want to do them on Thursdays. We used to do free live training Fridays on Facebook and YouTube, and now I'm only doing them in the private Facebook group. But what I'd like to do, and not always, I know I will be doing it this week. I will be uploading it to YouTube tomorrow. They can have those on Fridays. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you can definitely drop in the comments replay to let me know that you guys are watching this. And if you ever want to join in live, make sure you are in the private Facebook group, because this is where if you have any questions, we can definitely answer those as we go along. So let me just refresh the screen here, because I need to get us need to be able to see any comments that come in from the Facebook group. Beautiful. Let me see. 1 second. Okay, awesome. All right. So today we are going to be talking about the 8 types of self-care, the importance of each when they are needed. So we're going to go into all of that in just a second. But if you guys are new to my live trainings, what I always like to do at the beginning, because before we go into the mental realm, or if we go into any psychic realms, if you guys join me with the live tarot Tuesdays, I always want to clear the energies first. So the first thing we're going to do is I've got some left. Let's use this white sage and rosemary. Really been feeling pulled to the rosemary lately. It's really good with mental focus and clarity and like school and learning and studying. So for this little master class, I feel this is a really good one to use. So I'm going to light this here. It's got some sage in it as well. And if you guys would like some scent to you, what I do invite you guys to do is you guys can put your hands up, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say, I receive, and I will send you guys some white sage and rosemary. Okay. All right. And this will kind of keep burning on the side. We'll keep this going. Even if you're watching the replay, you guys can still receive. We'll keep this kind of going off to the side. All right. And the other thing I like to do before we get into today's topic, we're gonna do just a really quick collective card pull. I always do card pulls on all of my lives, so this is just a really quick 1-2. What's going on in the collective? What you need to hear today? So let's get a card for everybody that's watching, and then we will get into the self-care topic of today. Beautiful. Okay, so it says relationships are assignments for optional growth and healing. And I want to leave this as a very general term. All relationships, doesn't have to be romantic, because the law of reflection, we hold up mirrors to each other. So there's always a chance for growth and healing, but that word optional is here because nobody's forcing us to do the real work, to go into the light. And it's not bad if you don't want to. You will figure it out in your own time, whether it's in this lifetime or the next. So the word optional is definitely highlighted there, but just remember that everybody is here to help us learn and grow if we so choose. So, and there may be some self-care stuff that may come up with us as well. All right, beautiful. Okay. All right. So today, like I said, we are going to go, and we're going to use my whiteboard today. I've been wanting to use this on the lives, and I haven't got into that yet. I usually use it with my coaching clients, but all right. So we're going to do, let's see, 8 types of self-care. All right, everybody can see that? Beautiful. Okay, so the first one we're going to write down is physical. So I think we'll go through these one by one and we'll kind of talk about them. So physical self-care. When is this needed? Well, physical self-care can be so many different things. It doesn't have to be just, okay, I'm taking care of my physical body, I'm working out, I'm getting exercise, stuff like that. There is the energy of like, okay, let's hold on. This is your body, this is your vessel, this is your being for this life. And so taking care of yourself physically means inside and out. I'll give you a perfect example of what was not what I'm going through with my physical self-care right now. And actually it's going to relate into our next one as well. But and I've been talking about this all week. And so this is what kind of prompted me to talk about these things here. Because it's like you learn these lessons and then you learn them deeper and you need to learn them deeper. And then you're just like, okay, it's like peeling back the layers, right? So I was going so fast and I was doing so many things and I was trying to do all the things. The universe is like, slow down. And sometimes when we do not listen, the universe will give us a timeout, and it can be in the energy of a physical illness. And I've been going through so much stuff in the physical plane for the last like 5-6 months, between like a 2+ month back injury to valley fever and hypothyroidism and stuff with the blood and immunity and like all of the stuff because I wasn't listening. So again, like physical energy, we also have to take care of our physical body. What we have to watch, what we're eating, what we're putting into it. No judgment. I'm not telling you you need to change your diet, but anything you were putting into your body, like our internal being is a direct reflection of our external. So whatever is going on internal in the cellular level is going to mirror out. So it is also important to think about, you know, what you're eating, and because that's can have a direct reflection out. So there's so much energy to go into what am I not doing physically? Am I sleeping too much? Am I not getting enough sleep? Am I working out? Do I need to work out? Is there an illness or disease or something going on? Because what that is your body is in a state of dis-ease, right? And it wants to purge something out if it comes out in that energy, which is going to relate beautifully for the second one. And if you guys have any questions about any of this as we go along, let me know. But basically, number one is physical. So this is anything of your physical body that can come in that you're doing, like, oh my God, I have arthritis. Well, we can kind of relate that back to an emotional thing or relate where it's coming from. Anything physical can just mean rest or movement, right? So rest and movement on either spectrum can be part of it. There's so much to talk about with this. So I want to go into, make sure I leave room. Because I feel like these can intertwine, these can entangle. So physical stuff can come from emotional blocks. And I want to talk about this based on my own journey. So when I started getting sick, right, there was emotional stuff that I hadn't worked through. I believe that when you do get sick, it is because there is a mental or emotional issue to work through that you haven't. And so it's going to manifest now in the physical realm. Your body's saying, hey, 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 it's like radars, right? Going off, little alarm saying this needs to be worked on. So for an example, with the valley fever, which is a fungal infection, and fungus is related to mold. Mold relates to resentment, right? There was a lot of stuff coming up that I had to go into and that I wasn't dealing with. And so because I wasn't dealing with it, the universe is like, okay, now is the time. We're going to sit you down. You're going to deal with this. Like, this is something you need to purge out of your body physically, because I've been holding on to it for too long. So emotional stuff that can come up can relate to physical. But again, physical self-care, when any of this comes up, the short answer of physical self-care is going to be either movement or rest, okay? With emotional self-care, when do you know you need it? Okay, emotional self-care. Well, Are you extra? Let me give you a few general things. I'm sure light workers, empaths, starseeds probably relate with this. So there are times where you're a little bit more sensitive to energies, maybe a full moon, maybe an eclipse, stuff like that. And so emotional self-care can be highlighted at that time. So if you know there's going to be a full moon and you know you're a little extra emotional at this time, especially if the moon is going to be in a water sign like Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, emotional self-care would be highlighted at that time as something that is needed. Okay. So if you know, women, if you're on your period and you're going to be extra emotional, emotional self-care is highlighted as something you need. If you just got in an argument with your boss, your partner, a family member, somebody, and you are upset, sad, angry, whatever emotions are coming up, you're going to then go into emotional self-care, right? Because emotional self-care regulates the emotions. This regulates the physical body. This is going to relate the emotions. So anything that happens to you physically, we need to find a form of physical self-care to do. Anything that relates to your emotions, you're going to find an emotional form of self-care. So this is making sense? Okay, let me just come over here. Beautiful. All right, so next one we're going to go into, where's my marker, is mental. Now, this is the one I struggle with the most, guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, mental self-care. Whew. Need a breath for that one. Let me get a sip of something. Me being a Pisces, I live up on planet Pisces and I have a harder time grounding. And I understand there's different forms of grounding: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. I've tried these. I've tried with different elements, and I've tried in the body versus Mother Earth. And I know all these grounding techniques, but when I get lost in this mental world, it is really hard for me personally to connect to a mental self-care. So mental self-care is needed when you're using too much of that mental energy. You're thinking too much. Your brain is overactive. You're overanalyzing everything. You're just lost in your thoughts. You're in your head. So for me, and it may not even just be that way, without just being a Pisces and up here a lot, too much upper chakra energy that needs to be grounded down, I work like workaholics, using all your mental, your intellect. Anything like I'm just nonstop, like planning and creating and doing stuff of the mind. So I'm using too much of my mental side and I'm not connecting enough to my emotional, my physical, and my spiritual to balance out those four energy centers. So when my mental gets overactive, I need to find a form of mental self-care to balance out those energies, because we have the four sides of us: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And I don't have spiritual on here, which we could actually make that as number 4. If any one of those sides is overworked, it's going to cause a state of imbalance, which means you're probably going to need to bring awareness into balancing out those energy centers. So anything intellect, anything thinking, anything planning, you're just think your head, think your brain. So preparing logic. If you work in an office all day, maybe you're writing contracts, you could work with numbers, you could taxes, you could be a teacher. You're just nonstop using the brain and the mind. There's too much mental energy going on. So at that point, we need to find a form of mental self-care so we can balance out our energy. So I wasn't going to do spiritual as number 4, but I feel let's talk about that, because we have these 4 sides of us. These are the 4 sides that I always try to balance: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And like I said, if your spiritual is off, or if your spiritual is off, you might need some self-care here. But if you're all spiritual all the time, these may not be balanced. I believe when these 4 are balanced, you can be in a state of balance, right? We got these 4 sides of us. There's 4 seasons. There's 4 elements. Like 4 is a very grounding number. So looking in where you might be needing balance in any of these energies, or where you might be overworked in any of these energies. So spiritual, right? And there's a light and a dark with that as well. As we're talking about balance, I'll highlight this, and then we're going to kind of come back to these other sides in a second. But When we're talking about balancing our energy centers, we can be all or nothing, and anything in between. It's a spectrum, right? Workaholics, I'm all in the mental and I'm not taking care of here. Spiritual, well, I'm just being free love and hippie, living on a mountain and meditating and ignoring all my problems. Well, what about these three, right? Oh my God, I'm addicted to working out. I spend all the time in the gym. I forget to take of all of these. Sometimes we get lost in our emotions and we forget about the other side. So there is the energy of be careful which one of these realms you're spending the most time in and making sure they're balanced. But spiritual self-care is such a broad general term, because what spirituality may mean to me may mean something different to you. I relate with spirituality with like meditation and yoga and crystals and new age and nature. Like some people, it may be more nature. They may not be any of that new age stuff. Other people, it may be more religion. They may be faith-based. So to define what actual spiritual self-care looks like to you may be completely different to me. For you, it may be going to church. For me, it may be doing a meditation. So figuring out where I need spiritual self-care is going to be different for each of us on the journey, okay? Let's see. Hello, Liz. How are we doing? Thank you for joining. Love the hearts. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the thumbs up. Beautiful. Okay. So outside of these four sides of us, this is like our internal world that we have to deal with on a daily basis. We have this other external world that can cause us to be out of balance. And then we need to bring in self-care. Ooh, interesting. This wasn't planned, but it's like the four inner sides, and then we're going to do the four external, right? Okay. I like it. So the next one let's do is, which one do we want to go into? Professional. Now, I know I talked about with the mental energy that, sure, you could be a workaholic and you're using a lot of intellect, but I want to leave these as separate energies because think about it. You don't have to be a workaholic. And let's say your work is very feminine and you create art. Let's just say you're an artist, whether you're a singer or painter, like it doesn't matter. Your work there is not going to be of the mental plane. The mental plane can still be lost in my thoughts. I'm obsessing about the past. I'm obsessing about the future. I'm thinking about a fight with somebody else. I'm judging myself. I am harboring negative anger, feelings, jealousy, whatever it is. This can lead to mental burnout. When you get to mental burnout, well, we got to get into mental self-care. So mental can be different than professional because there's so many different professional things. In short, there is the energy, again, workaholic. Oh my God, I'm spending all my time at work and not getting stuff done, even if it's not of the mental plane. But sometimes we have to find that balance. Even if you're doing what you love, like I love what I do, and I have to remind myself that. So I do tarot, I do Reiki, I do coaching, I do sound baths. And yes, there's that spiritual aspect of that, a professional. But if I'm all the time holding space and facilitating and giving, when do I receive? Right? So then my body's out of balance because I'm putting too much on the external and not on my internal. So then I have to go back and go, okay, which one of these now need some self-care? Because I haven't been focusing on me enough. I'm putting my focus on other people. So using work as an escape to kind of avoid your own stuff, even if it's done unconsciously, can be a thing. So again, if we're putting too much energy in work, we might need to take a step back. And with professional self-care, right? Let's say you work, and no judgment with anything, but you work somewhere, may not be conducive for mental health or a toxic environment, or maybe just you like what you do, but you have like a negative coworker. Boundaries may need to come into play with professional self-care. So even if you're, let's say you're unemployed, like professional self-care, then you're stressing out about finances, which is actually the next one, which will lead into that in a second. But professional self-care, looking at what you need, like what is it you're needing, making sure you're not overworking yourself, we're not giving too much of our energy, and making sure that's balanced. And then you can tune in and go, okay, maybe my professional self-care is a boundary. right? Okay. So talked about the sixth one here, which is finances. Okay. And so, yes, going back to that example, and I like how these are kind of going hand in hand, totally unplanned because I wrote them down ahead of time because it's like, it's easy when things are in front of you and you're like trying to remember writing it down when they're not in front of you. So not in the order I plan on doing, but financial self-care, right? And some of these they get entangled with each other. Let's go back to that analogy. Let's say you are unemployed, probably going to be stressed, probably going to be thinking a lot in the mental plane. Your brain's going to start producing cortisol, and then you're going to be overworked, and you're going to get of the mind, and then you're going to get emotional, sad, frustrated, angry, something, and then these two are going to need self-care because finances aren't coming in. Financial self-care can be a big issue for a lot of people who struggle with money. So there's that energy of there's not enough, I'm stressing about it. On one energy of financial self-care, but other things to be aware of is overspending, right? Shopping addictions are real. And it doesn't even have to be a shopping addiction, but just like not budgeting. Like budgeting is financial self-care, guys. So making sure we plan accordingly, not just spending our money like willy-nilly and buying this and go, well, now I don't have money to pay my electric bill. Well, did you really need that extra drum set? I don't know. I was staring at drums in my wall, so that's why I said that. But like whatever it is, did you need to go out to that $150 dinner, or did you need to pay your electric bill? Like budgeting can be a form of financial self-care to make sure you are taken care of. Because again, if you're not taken care of, if your finances aren't paid, stress, mental, emotions are going to come out, erratic, sadness, grief, tears, whatever it is. So these can all interlink because again, these external ones, so 5, 6, we'll do 7 and 8 here. These 4 external worlds are all going to come back into your internal world. And like I said, your internal world is a direct reflection of your external world. It's beautiful how they kind of go hand in hand there. So let's go into number 7. Environmental. It's supposed to be an A. Okay. Okay. So environmental, what does that mean? That can be so many things. Like it can be your home, it can be your car, it can be your job, it can be a place you like to go study, a coffee, a library, it can be your neighborhood, it can be anything, a physical place, anything that's environmental. So environmental self-cares. I live in an apartment. These walls are really thin. I hear everything. So sometimes it keeps me up at night, and I need to remember to put on my sleep headphones or close my door a little bit, making sure, because then like environmental, their stuff, if it affects my sleep cycle and I don't get much sleep, I'm going to be extra tired and I'm not going to be in a full state physically or emotionally, right? So environmental, going back to even to work, because these all do entangle. Maybe it's not the best place for you to be. For environmental self-cares, it could be a place like, oh my God, I came to the coffee house to do some work, and then like all these people are in my ear chattering and I'm getting upset about it. Like whatever environmental stress is going on some things, for that example, you can remove yourself. Let's say you always go to the coffee house and there's just somebody there that day, right? Bring headphones, come back another day, go sit somewhere else. There's things we can do to work around these things. Like I had to find my own thing. I'm like, I live here. I signed a lease. Like, what can I do? I hear every little thing. So it does not affect my sleep. Because it affects my sleep. The physical self-care goes out the window. I'm no good to anybody. So environmental can be places you're at. But with that being said, there are also different energy waves and frequencies that we pick up on all the time that are on the unconscious plane that we don't even know about. So for example, I am literally filming right here from my laptop right now. And so laptops and phones and computers have something called EMF, electric magnetic field. So I literally have some shungite. Thank you, Natalie. I got this one from Natalie in case you're watching. Shungite here to block that, okay? Because that's an environmental stressor it's going to put on my body. So this is my form of environmental self-care. I have different types of headphones. I have Bluetooth ones, but I really like the corded ones the best because then I don't have to pick up on that Bluetooth frequency. I want to not pull in as much, right? There's things you could do, turning off, maybe putting your phone on airplane mode at night while you sleep, because the environmental stuff is the seen and unseen. It doesn't have to be noisy neighbors. It can be these frequencies and waves that we don't even know that we're picking up on, and then finding that right form of self-care to work with that that environmental issue. Okay, let's see. Hi, Brooke. Welcome. How are you? Beautiful. So glad you are here. Brooke is one of my coaches. She's my business coach. I got to catch up on your replays. That is actually my plan after this. So lovely to see you here. And then the last one we are going to do is, oh, I grabbed a different marker. I was like, why is this one so bold? Okay. Well, that one's going to be retired. We're going to now work with this one that is social. Now, this is the fun one. I am all about social self-care. And again, how we talk about spiritual self-care being different for each of us. Social self-care, again, we can't be all work and no play all the time. So this is getting out of the house. This is going to do something fun. For me, it could be like hiking in the mountains. I live in the mountains. So for you, it could be hiking in the forest. It doesn't have to be nature. If you like nature, get out by a river, a pond, an ocean. Maybe you like to go out to eat, go watch a movie, go with your friends, go to an ecstatic dance, like whatever's going to lighten up your spirit, whatever you're going to have fun that's going to ignite that inner child. This is social self-care. We have to take care of that inner child. We have to be able to have fun and invite play into our life. And I don't want to say have to, like you need, it's very important, but again, honor your own path. I never want to be those people like, you have to do this, you should do this, like listen to your own thing. But for me, this is what I found most important, that this highlights what I need. I need to go have fun. I need to remember to laugh. Like, go to a comedy show. Go watch a comedy movie. Like, don't take life so seriously. Like, play is a necessity for me. So social is so important. Get with your friends. Have supportive people. Sometimes that social self-care is just you need maybe emotional support. You need a friend to talk to. Like, these are so beautiful that they all entangle with. So I have all these different types of self-care. Honoring and listening to the body. What does the body need? If your stomach is hurting and you're having digestion issues, for an example, it's coming up for a reason. So it's telling you, hey, this needs to be addressed. Let's figure out what's going on in the body. I'm going to work on physical self-care. Again, if you're getting extra emotional, whether it's something all the way to the past, going from childhood that wants to be addressed, or just something in the moment or something you're not dealing with, honor whatever emotions come up, good and bad, right? Emotional self-care can be happiness. I choose to be happy today. Find out in emotional plane what you need, because you can transmute those energies and turn sadness into happiness, and invite emotional self-care in when it's needed. Again, mental self-care, not getting lost in the head, not getting overworked in negative thoughts, those limiting beliefs, those stories that you tell yourself that I guarantee you are probably not even true, that you're just, oh my God, I've based my new identity or current identity or whatever, just your identity on these stories that I'm telling myself on the mental plane. Maybe your mental self-care is rewriting your story, which is going to fulfill you emotionally. It's going to help you on a whole vibrational plane, right? Spiritual, like again, I said, whether it's faith-based or nature, or you're into the new age stuff, or however spirituality means to you, that's also an important part to connect with, right? Because that's just going to align you with your spirit and your soul. And I do believe we all have that within us. So professional self-care, again, just giving a little recap, making sure we don't go all in. And the other thing with that is, like, do you love what you do? Are you just working a job for a paycheck? Like, maybe you're having mental burnout because you're not happy with your work. Check in with yourself. Where do you need to put in a boundary? Do you need more hours? Like, what's going on with your profession, your work, a side gig, anything in the professional world that you need to first acknowledge, and then go, okay, this is the problem. And then we work on solutions to fix it. And that can be the self-care. And then we have, did I not spell finances right? I did not. I wrote, did I wrote fiance? It's supposed to say finances. Finance. It's fine. It's fine. We're just going to leave it. Whatever it needs to be. Maybe there's a message there for somebody. Finances. Your money coming in and your money not coming out. Again, how we talked about, if money's not coming in, then it's going to cause stressors in the mental and emotional. So looking at where we're spending, budgeting, all of that can be forms of self-care. And then environmental, things of the seen, things of the unseen. Are your neighbors bothering you? Is it the EMF? Like whatever is going on, where do you need some form of environmental self-care? And maybe your environmental self-care is just like literally getting out of nature, which can then even help you in other planes as well. So social, have fun. What do you need to do today to smile, to laugh? Like, where do you need to just let yourself be happy? Tap in the joy, tap in the bliss, like social, get out with friends. Go do something that's gonna drop you into the pleasure vibration. So these are the 8 types of self-care that I believe have helped me through my life, when I could check in and say, again, where am I needing self-care? Because I feel, where's the good marker? Is this it? Okay. These 4 here are your inner world. And these 4 here are going to be your outer world. So whatever, God, I can't spell today, can I? Outer, what am I doing? Outer, out. Maybe I did spell it. There was just too many T's. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. See, I can, wow. Okay, outer world. So these 4 things can then affect you internally. When these things are in alignment, these 4 don't affect you as much, right? Because these 4, it's this, everything is circular, okay? You get yourself right, this will all fall in line. It's just law of vibration. If these are all taken care of, your job, your finance, your environment, your friends are probably going to come in alignment because you're in a good vibrational point. Okay. But if all these are a mess, then you're probably a mess inside. It's just a circular thing, if that makes sense. So it's good to look at, what do I need internally to balance my life, externally, or where is it externally that's affecting me internally. Okay. All right. And if anybody is struggling with any form of self-care, and maybe you're like, ooh, oh my God, I never thought financial was a self-care issue. I never thought, ooh, social or environmental. Maybe you're new to any of these and you're like, I would like to brainstorm some ideas on where I need to invite more self-care into my life. If you are blocked in any of these energies and you feel, oh my God, I've been stuck in this emotional plane for like forever, I need help getting out of it. I'm stuck in the mental plane. I think too much. How do I work on my mental self-care? If you are looking for help in any of these 8 types of self-care, drop self-care into the comments. And I'd love to help you come up with some ideas that would be personalized for you. Because yeah, some of the things we talked about are very general, but there are things that may work for you that may not work for somebody else. And when we get to the root cause of where you're actually blocked, we go, oh, it's really not your finances, it's really the mental, right? And that can be the key to unlocking it. So I'd love to help you guys come up with, form some new self-care routines or rituals or whatever it is you need, help you uncover where you may be blocked. Just drop self-care into the comments and we could talk about that. If you are on YouTube, that works as well. Just drop that in the comments. And yeah, I think that wraps up everything for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you got anything out of this video, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. This way I know you've got something that resonated. I'm going to give my little spiel because I am going to upload this to YouTube tomorrow. But if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And there's a bell too. You want to turn on the bell and turn on all notifications, because I don't want you guys to miss out on any upcoming message. The next message just might be the next message you need to hear today. All right, guys, and last little message. Remember, the live trainings are only going to be done in the private Facebook group. So if you guys do have any questions, make sure you're in the Facebook group. I will drop it in the YouTube, either description or the comments. I might pin it. It might be in both. It is the Awakening code. It's where you can catch me live. We'll be doing these trainings Thursdays, 10 a.m. Mountain Arizona time. Other than that, thanks so much. Be blessed.